Genesis 15. Sometime later, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a vision. Fear not, Abram. I am a shield to you. Your reward shall be very great. But Abram said, O Yahweh, what can you give me, seeing that I shall die childless, and the one in charge of my household is Damasek, Eleazar? Abraham said further, Since you have granted me no offspring, my steward will be my heir. The word of Yahweh came to him in reply, That one shall not be your heir, none but your very own issue shall be your heir. Then in the vision, Yahweh took him outside and said, Look toward heaven and count the stars. If you are able to count them, continuing, so shall your offspring be. And he put his trust in Yahweh, who reckoned it to his merit. Then Yahweh the Most High said to him, I am your power who brought you out from Ur of the Chaldeans to assign this land to you as a possession. And he said, O power, O Yahweh, how shall I know that I am to possess it? Came the reply, Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old she-goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young bird. He brought all these and cut them in two, placing each half opposite the other, but he did not cut up the bird. Birds of prey came down upon the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. As the sun was about to set, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and a great dark dread descended upon him. And Yahweh said to Abram, Know well that your offspring shall be strangers in a land not theirs, and they shall be enslaved and oppressed 400 years. But I will execute judgment on the nation they shall serve, and in the end they shall go free with great wealth. As for you, you shall go to your ancestors in peace. You shall be buried a ripe old age, and they shall return here in the 4th generation. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. When the sun set and it was very dark, there appeared a smoking oven and a flaming torch, which passed between those pieces. On that day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abram. To your offspring I assign this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. Let's go. Let that sink in for a minute. We're talking fair use. Section 107 of the Copyright Act. We're talking research and scholarship. Let's go. Number 35. All praise the Most High. Are we, are you, dracons, the dragons found here in America? You let me know. We ain't new to this. We true to this. We're talking Knights Templar, the Aztecs. No, we in for a ride. We're steadily rowing and we're constantly flowing. In 1992, Museums of Western Colorado curator of history David Bailey met Keith and Anita Clark at an organizational meeting to form the Mesa County, Colorado chapter of the Old Spanish Trail Association, talking about a story about a 1961 discovery, a lost Spanish relic. The Clarks gave Bailey a faded copy of a 1961 newspaper. The article mentioned that it might have been from the exploration of 2 Spanish colonial priests who journeyed through western Colorado in 1776. We're talking, did Colorado's first explorers lose bronze relic? What's going on here? You let me know. We're talking the vision of Constantine was the scene from this lost relic. They say the 17th century bronze casting refers to the legend that the pagan emperor Constantine in 312 AD saw visions of a fiery cross in the sky at noonday, and he put it on the shield of his troops. the emperor decreed tolerance of the Christian religion. It says the emperor is shown struck to the ground while the cross framed in a triangle for the Blessed Trinity. We're talking founding fathers and the Knights Templar in the Spanish. I don't know, you let me know. On the emperor's breastplate and shield, the symbol of the cross is already engraved. So they found this cross, this emblem, this relic in Colorado. Check it out. It says Prost mentioned that the scene on the top of the relic depicted the vision of Constantine. Bailey found this fascinating because the use of the first Christian emperor Constantine's vision in the design indicated it might be a Catholic relic from the Spanish colonial era. The photograph of the relic, which was thought to be bronze, was also sent to Stephen V. Granksay, curator of arms and armor at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. He believed it may have been an applied band and on the face of a processional cross carried by priests to proclaim their Christian faith. What's going on here? Rick Duje tested the artifact at his lab and found the object was cast out of pure copper. We're talking sacred copper plates, pure copper colored cons. The fine quality of this copper casting was not typical of the Spanish colonial period, which normally utilized iron and bronze. Bailey was able to discern that the symbols on the relic were not of Spanish origin, but were decorative elements from a Masonic Knights Templar sword scabbard. So they were not of Spanish origin, they say. They were decorative elements from a Masonic Knights Templar sword scabbard. Come on, man. He found the symbolism of the relic related to the teaching of the Freemasons. All right, we back. Let's go. We're talking Denver, Colorado. Sacred relics made of pure copper, they say. Here we go. Check it out. We're talking Denver, Colorado. In the Templar grandstand, man. You can't make this up. Let me know what you think. The Monster Mitchell Gate Bar, reproduction at 17th and Tremont Streets. The Knights Templar Conclave, Denver, Colorado, 1913. Talking Castle. Electric emblem. What's really going on here in Colorado? It says the most prominent symbols on the relic included an inverted triangle in the sun, a reclining Emperor Constantine looking at the cross in the sun, a coat of arms, and a cross within a crown, right? What did we just see? These symbols represent the Knights Templar degree in York Rite Masonry. The inverted equilateral triangle that appears in the sun on the top left corner of the relic is the Masonic symbol of the Grand Architect of the Universe, they say, and is considered one of the most important Masonic symbols. According to legend, the pagan Roman Emperor Constantine had a prophetic vision. We're talking Romans, we're talking Chicago, Colorado. What's the connection here? Before the battle, Constantine looked at the sun and saw a vision, the sign of the cross and the words, "In this sign you will conquer." Constantine painted the cross on his war banners. Constantine became the first Christian emperor of Rome, and the Masonic Knights Templar adopted this signature's motto and commitment to their power. That shit's crazy, man. What's going on here? They found this in Colorado. Says the cross and crown symbol at the bottom represented the reward in heaven, the crown coming after the trials of earthly life, they say. It was adopted as the symbol of the Masonic Knights Templar and is on their uniforms and memorabilia. What's the Templars doing in Colorado? The team announced that the metal armor fragments were consistent with metallurgy from the 16th and 17th century. A faint Spanish colonial quinto, we're talking Carlos. Quinto, a faint Spanish colonial quinto, or fifth tax stamp. Holy Roman Emperor Carlos Quinto, Charles V, stamped at the time to show the quinto tax had been paid to the King of Spain. The team seemed to have found proof that an unknown early Spanish expedition traveled to present-day western Colorado. This is the King of Spain's quinto stamp. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Says the Spanish explorers had interest in Colorado all the way back to the beginning of their conquest of the New World. Bailey began with Spain's first conquistador, Hernán Cortés, conqueror of the Aztecs. Bailey discovered that Cortés and his fellow conquistadors were very interested in native stories, legends, and myths. Says they could plunder and take control of the new lands for the King of Spain, Emperor Charles V. In a long letter to Emperor Charles V, Carlos Quinto conquered the Aztecs. Cortés tells of his first conversation with the Aztec ruler Montezuma on November 8, 1519. On the eve of the destruction of the Aztec Empire, Montezuma confided. Alright, so walk with me. We're talking Hernando de Soto's secretary, Rodrigo Rangel, expressed astonishment of meeting Chief Tuscaloosa, who he described as gigantic. Talking Mississippian culture, Chief Tuscaloosa was a half yard taller than any of them. Rangel declared that Tuscaloosa measured up to Antonico, a colossal bodyguard of Emperor Charles V. What was he doing over here, man? What was he looking for? Antonico, a colossal bodyguard of Emperor Charles V. Tuscaloosa had a young son as tall as he. So Montezuma confided, "We have known for a long time from the chronicles of our forefathers that neither I nor those who inhabit this country are descendants from the aborigines of it, but from strangers who came to it from very distant parts. And we also hold that our race was brought to these parts by a lord, whose vassals they all were, and who returned to his native country. Cortés made it his mission to locate their original kingdom, which the Aztecs called Aztlan. Bailey was surprised to discover that the 7 cities of gold legend did not originate in the southwest, but from Spain. The 7 cities of gold legend did not originate from the southwest, but from Spain. In AD 711, the Moorish army invaded Spain and Portugal. All right, we're talking Moors, we're talking Spanish, we're talking Chicago, we're talking Colorado. So the bishops then founded the 7 cities of gold on an island in the Atlantic Ocean. However, by 1508, maps relocated the 7 cities of gold to North America. The Aztec priests told the Spanish conquistadors that they traced their earliest ancestors from 7 sacred caves. The Aztecs were originally from the 7 cities of gold. Hernán Cortés was determined to be the first to find the rich Aztec homeland. He dispatched his lieutenants to search for possible rich mining regions or a water passage in an unexplored area west of Tenochtitlan, present-day Mexico City. What's going on here in the southwest? Cartographer Juan Martinez lived in Messina, Sicily. He was one of the most celebrated map makers of his time. Bailey was astounded that Martinez's map marked the area of present-day west central Colorado as the site of the 7 cities of gold. Let that sink in. The Martinez map indicated that the cities were at the intersection of 39 degrees north latitude and the source of a large unknown river, apparently the Colorado River of today, which emptied out into the Gulf of Mexico. Let's go. No, but for real, let me know what y'all think, man. This is crazy. I find it interesting. Let me know what you think. The geographical information of these early maps was based partially on the Spanish conquistadors and the European cartographers' limited knowledge of the coastlines and inland topography of the New World. However, many early map makers based much of their information on legends, myth, and cultural stories. We're talking word of mouth told by the native people. These map makers went one step further by placing mythical cities on their maps with no factual information. So these map makers collecting this information from these conquistadors and so-called explorers and putting these mythical cities on their maps according to the information they get from the natives. It says the mineral resources and legendary places. Benitez's report gave coordinates for finding the legendary kingdom of Quivira. The legendary kingdom of Quivira. Benitez indicated that the Quivira Indians adorned themselves with gold earrings and necklaces, and that precious metal was commonplace in their kingdom. We're talking cities of gold, Quivira. So the Spanish court, so the Spanish, the Moors, the Catholics, all over here, the so-called founding fathers looking for the legendary kingdom of Quivira, receiving more priests and money to continue the religious work in New Spain. We're talking the Southwest. Benitez's narrative of the 7 cities of Cibola described one of the 7 cities, Cibola, as consisting of 1,000 beautiful 3 to 4 story timber and stone houses. We're talking wood and stone houses, 7 cities of Cibola, the cities of gold. Spanish diaries and maps often contain cryptic messages, only understood by the map maker. Bailey wondered if Castira was a code word for something else. He researched the word and found no reference in any modern dictionaries. The word Castira was in an early history of Ireland entitled Collectiana de Rubis Hibernicis, written by Charles Valency in 1786. It explained that the geologic term meaning royal ore, cities of gold, royal ore, concealed in the earth. The other interesting word choice by Rivera was Castilla, which is a region of Spain but also means castle. We're talking castle. Cities of gold in the earth. Bailey surmised that Rivera was close to or had information on one of the 7 cities. We're talking evidence of prehistoric civilizations found north at the ranch of Colburn. We're talking Southwest Colorado. Evidence of a prehistoric civilization has been uncovered. The very early inhabitants of the south slope of Battlement Mesa. We're talking they found a floor under this sediment, a perfectly paved floor, carefully laid pavement made of a flat, hewn blocks of sandstone neatly fitted together, 8 feet below the surface of a long gentle slope with an altitude of 7,148 feet above sea level. A kingdom 7,148 feet above sea level. Who knows? Carefully laid pavement. At one corner of the tiled pavement was found a spring, and the stones are perfectly rounded off to form an opening through which to dip water. The sand stick blocks are all about 4 inches thick and are matched perfectly. Take a look. Talking Colburn, Colorado. To the consensus, the floor was constructed by an ancient civilization. Luke was impressed with the site and in the newspaper article stated, "The work is so well done and the stones are so neatly together that he believes it far surpasses the work of the early southwestern Indians." It says the ancient floor discovery in 1946, two archaeologists, one from Denver and the other from Chicago. I can't make this up. I'm telling you, there's a connection here. Denver and the other from Chicago traveled to see the floor in 1938 and were intrigued by the site. They in turn approached the Archaeological Society in London, which recommended an archaeologist who is currently studying an ancient tomb in Egypt. Right, so they're excavating this floor, this ancient floor, 7,148 feet above sea level, buried under some sediment. The floor area was on a very steep slope and had been covered by tons of material washed down from the mountains. The crew removed about 1,000 cubic feet of dirt and eventually uncovered a small section of the floor at a depth of 10 feet. Bailey was amazed to find what looked like a carefully laid stone courtyard. The floor tiles had an unusual gold appearance and gave off a slight sparkle in the sunlight, right? What's going on here? We're talking ancient cities of gold. Ancient cities of gold. Within the earth. Check it out. This is the Ute basket with the first images you saw were the top. This is the bottom of the page. They're walking into and out of this inner sanctum of gold. Chikomostok, that's what they call it. Says this cave in a place called Chikomostok. The Aztec place of emergence is topped with mountains surrounded by earth. The baskets, often with 7 interior lobes, have black triangular elements that represent rain clouds and mountains. The center of the basket is the place of emergence from which the people came to the surface. They had to follow a mythological pathway from the center of the basket to the rim. The northern Utes tell an ancient tale of emerging from the great waters where men had the bodies of fish. What's going on here? It's the famous Ute leader Chief Ure in Chipeta. McCook recalls asking the elders about their ancient kin, the Aztecs. My people referred to these people as Mokish, or just as old people, Winushiwa. I have heard the definition for Mokish as people who live in the earth, such as caves, or one that is meaning of the word Moki, which is to fall head first into the ground. Perhaps this is another way of saying that they live in the ground or cave. Another name was Kumanushiwa, meaning other people, usually meaning people from somewhere else and not of our people or people who are gone. Now let that sink in. People in the center of the earth, Mokish. He found the passage about the Utes' ancient kin living in the ground or cave interesting. The Aztec creation story tells of 7 Nahuatl-speaking tribes emerging out of a lifeway passage. 7 Nahuatl-speaking tribes emerging out of a lifeway passage. Right? It just looks like a basket weaving. We're talking the center of the earth or the underground cities of gold. They traveled in and out. Oh man, you can't make this up. The Aztecs believed the earth was the center of sacredness and the forces of nature were holy and provided life. The Utes of present-day western Colorado had many mythological stories that focused on Grand Mesa, one of the largest flat-top mountains in the world. Grand Mesa. He found that duality is a recurring theme in both Ute and Aztec mythology. tells of the story of Sinovav, the creator, who represents balance and harmony, and his opposite, Coyote, the trickster, who at times represents chaos and disorder in the world. Sinovav cut up sticks and put them in a bag and tied it shut. It says the Aztec culture also had opposite entities. Huitzilopochtli, the sun, fire, and war god Tlaloc, who produced lightning. Tlaxinoli, or fire and water. Amazingly, the outline of Grand Mesa, the largest flat-top mountain in the world, the outline of Grand Mesa is the mirror image of the ancient Tlaxinoli glyph. The combination of the two symbols, fire and water. The ancient Aztecs often used paired symbols to refer metaphorically to a single concept. We're talking Ometiato, fire and water were bound together as opposites and would continually battle each other. The two gods with the little g had side-by-side shrines on the Great Temple, a double pyramid in the Aztec symbol. We're talking the outline of the Grand Mesa is the mirror image of this glyph, the symbols of fire and water. We're talking the Grand Mesa, the largest flat-top mountain in the world. A double pyramid in the Aztec capital. The Aztecs said the dual pyramids represented a real mountain, and this would account for the many legends associated with the Grand Mesa. Bailey speculated that the entire Tlaxinoli symbol, whose outline matches the shape of Grand Mesa. So this symbol matches the largest flat-top mountain in the world, and it represents a sacred site. Bailey's research found numerous connections in the Aztec and Ute mythologies, stories of eagles and serpents in both cultures, and the connection between a small Aztec temple found in Malinalco, Mexico, and the Thunderbird legend. All right, we're talking dragons, we're talking Thunderbirds. So this is the inner sanctum of the temple in Malinalco, Mexico. The jaguar pelt at the bottom of the curved bench is flanked by two eagles. Check it out. Check it out. Let me know what you think. The inner sanctum of the temple in Malinalco. Serpent flanked by two eagles. Bailey found the temple site during his study of Aztec myths and legends. The Malinalco Temple is 1,865 miles from western Colorado's Grand Mesa. Construction began in 1501 after the Aztec journey from their northern homeland, Aztlan, some 40 years earlier, they say. We're talking 40 years. It was one of the last Aztec temples constructed before the Spanish conquest in 1521. The majestic whitewater basin in western Colorado and the small Aztec temple 70 miles south of Mexico City shared a cultural mystery that transcends distance and time. Both sites was passed down by a common mythology. The eagle and serpent had deep significance in Aztec religious beliefs. The Aztecs were wary of their long migration south from their homeland and looked for a sign of the promised land. Their god with the little g, Huitzilopochtli, gave his priests a vision that they would find an eagle devouring a serpent on top of a cactus. The next day, the priest saw the eagle on the cactus with a serpent in his talons and founded Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital, present-day Mexico City, Tenochtitlan. They found the promised land after journeying 40 years. The Aztec eagle and serpent story is carved in stone at the temple in present-day Malinalco. The main temple is called Cuauhcali, meaning House of Eagles. It is one of the few examples of a nearby intact Aztec structure that survived the Spanish conquest. Right? Connect the dots. The temple was carved into a mountain to create an artificial cave. Carved on the outside of the cave face is a large serpent with fangs on both sides. On the floor in front of the opening is the bifid, split in two, the carved tongue of the serpent. The inside of the cave is a circular room with raised curved ledge on the back wall. Two carved eagles sit on the curved ledge with a flat jaguar pelt between them. Jaguar pelts represent a cave or the center of the mountain. Jaguars, by their nature, live in caves and hunt at night. Come on, connect the dots. Mexican scholars believe the cave inside the temple represents the womb of the earth. We're talking cities of gold, Cibola, Aztlan, or Chicomostoc. The Aztecs believed the eagle was a disguise of the sun. We're talking eagles and dragons and suns, the terrestrial form of the Huitzilopochtli, dragon king or priest or something. When Huitzilopochtli was to be born of the earth mother, Coatlicue, she of the serpent skirt, her sibling gods with the little g became angry and plotted to kill him. He burst forth fully grown, climbed up Coatepec, Snake Mountain, and defeated the immortals. In his earthly disguise as a great eagle, he killed those born of the snake goddess. The Aztec people came forth metaphorically from the womb of Coatlicue. What's going on here? Many Aztec scholars believe that Malanaco Cave is a sacred temple to modern the ancient homelands of their people. The story occurred on Thunder Mountain, known today as Grand Mesa, the largest flat-top mountain in the world, in Colorado. The story occurred on Thunder Mountain, known today as Grand Mesa. It says it takes place in a natural cathedral called Whitewater Basin. Intriguingly, Aztlan means place of whiteness. The Ute legend identifies the white plumes as bird droppings and bones of animals consumed by giant mythical eagles. Thunderbirds. Giant mythical eagles. Thunderbirds, known as dragons. Bo Uni Iki, who had their nests on top of the cliffs. The eagles perched on large curved basalt-capped bench like the carved curved bench in the Malanaco Temple, so the Thunderbirds flanking the serpent in the Malanaco Temple represents this place of whiteness, the Grand Mesa, representing bird droppings and bones consumed by giant mythical eagles. Check it out. It's trippy. Grand Mesa, the Museum of Western Colorado. Can't make this up. The outline of Grand Mesa is the mirrored image of the Atlatzinoli glyph. It is the mirrored image of this Aztec glyph. Check it out. This is the top of Grand Mesa. This is an aerial view. The largest flat top mountain in the world, representing this glyph from the ancient Aztec. We're talking cities of gold. Let me know what you think, man. We're just getting started. I got more where this came from. Let's get it, man. Episode number 35. All praise the Most High. You know how we do. We steadily rowing and we constantly flowing. Hello.